All right, let's just start off right now. All right, so ranking heroes by ultimates. And we're going to start with just tanks. I want to say Wrecking Ball's like C tier. I feel like Wrecking Ball is a good ultimate, but like you can't. It feels like it's so much more made for zoning. You know what I mean? I feel like the ultimate itself. So we're gonna put Wrecking Ball in C tier. I think the ultimate is just like okay. Like I don't find it to be the best ultimate. I don't find it to be like a terrible ultimate. It feels like it's okay. Doomfist, this is a tough one. I think B tier is where I'm gonna put Doom. If this was a few seasons ago, I might have put D tier. I know there isn't a lot of damage, but like it gives Doomfist a charge punch, right? It gives Doomfist a charge punch. That's step number one. Okay? Doomfist heals during the ult now. It does an okay amount of damage. It's not amazing, but it has enough there where, like, when you have Doom's ultimate, I would say it's pretty good. So I would put Doom in B tier for, like, the benefit you get from those that hero itself, right? Yeah, the healing's really good, right? Diva, I would say A tier. Diva ult gets a lot of limbs in a lot of ranks. And, like, even though Diva in A tier for, like, top 500 wouldn't make as much sense, I still think, like, having an extra mech, you know, displacing people, etc. Like, I would say that Diva would probably be an A tier for Ultimate. Roadhog Ultimate, believe it or not, B tier. Reason being, it lasts really long. It's such a long Ultimate that, like, it's not amazing, but because it lasts so long and you can't interrupt it, it's like such a good ultimate for that, right? Like it feels like it's just one of those ults that it's not necessarily amazing, but it gets the job done, right? Junker Queen. A tier? No, B tier. Suzu's too good against it. People have to be stacked up. It's good, but like it's not great. But I like it. It's fun. It's like a fun ultimate, you know what I mean? But like I think it's B tier. I think it's like it's a good ult, but it can displace you. I mean, yeah, if I went by like where I'd put it like in order, it displaces you too much sometimes. And with Suzu just existing, it makes it tough. Mauga Ultimate, probably B tier also, right? Good for what it does, but like can also be tough. Yeah, I'd say B tier. I think you're gonna see a lot of B tier ultimates for tanks. Yeah, B or C, yeah. I like B tier because like I think it is really good against mobility heroes, right? Orisa. Ugh. C tier? Good for getting your 50%. Like, I think Orisa's also... Yeah. Like, Orisa's like C plus or B minus. I'm just going to go with C tier to put a little bit of variety. Let me point out, though, when we're doing this, though. I do think Orisa's ultimate is good for keeping gold. I feel like people get out of it too easily. Like, the recent buffs has made... I can actually probably reorder that there. I think the recent buffs has made Orisa ultimate better, but it still doesn't quite match up to some of the other ultimates here. Like, for example, what happens if you're Orisa and Roadhog ults you? That's also why I have Roadhog ahead of Mauga's ultimate. You just fall over, right? I'm going to go B tier, actually. I've been talked into B tier. Let me explain why. You get the damage reduction. They made it so your damage amp up, like your damage ramp up happens, like, really quickly. It does a good amount of damage. It displaces people. It's not like Grav. Actually, you could argue that Orisa's ultimate's a better Grav now, right? I think I'm totally fine with that. Ramatra, is this going to be a B tier list? Like here? Like, Ramatra, like, it's like a gap closer. You can't get to him half the time now. Right? You say an A? Low A? Let me think. Good AoE. Can't do much against it. Good survivability. Good damage block. Okay, I'll give you that. Reinhardt. I'd say new Shatter moves Reinhardt to B. Right? Not that one. Thank you. Yeah. S tier for Rein? Really? You think Rein Shatter is S tier now? You could maybe argue A tier for Shatter. You could maybe argue A tier because of the new changes. Well, first of all, even though we'll talk about Suzu sometimes here, like, Suzu's going to destroy about 85% of these ultimates. As we know by now, Suzu destroys, like, every ultimate. Like, Suzu's there to make sure you have no fun with your ults. I'll go with A tier. Listen, I'll meet you at A tier because you know what? Whatever. I'm fine. All right, Sigma ult. I like A tier. Good ultimate. Displaces people. Does a lot of damage. Forces out cooldowns. Fun ultimate. Yeah, I'm fine with A tier. Winston ult. C tier. Good if you can use it, but like, you have to be really good at Winston. Like, it's more designed just for survivability. Players struggle a little bit with juggling. I'm fine with C tier. Zarya, I mean, I got to give A tier, right? Grav is good. Yeah, I think A tier is fine. It's a good ultimate. I honestly, looking at the ult tier list here for like, looking at the ult tier list for tanks here, I'm pretty content with this. I don't think it's an S tier ultimate right now. Grav is pretty good in a lot of ranks. I know players struggle against Zarya a lot. I don't think Grav in top 500 is an A ultimate. Versus ultimate better Grav. Oh, that's true. All right, here you go then. Just to keep consistency, B tier, get rolled. I'm content with this. I look at all these and I'm totally fine with it. People are going to argue this right here. I guarantee you people will argue the Orisa Zarya that it should be higher. But like, it just feels like whenever I grab people now, I heal them. Right? Who's S tier? Oh, you'll see. S tier ultimates are obvious. Oh, you'll see. All right. Ashe. B tier for Bob, I'd say. A tier's okay. B tier. I think B tier for Bob. I think Bob is good. Gets a lot of value, but like is also like easily... Bob falls over it quite a bit. Yeah. I feel like Bob is like okay, but B tier... Like Bob is good. Gets a lot of value. Yeah, we'll go B for Bob. There you go. Bastion, C tier. Cassidy, B tier, because of survivability. Bastion, C tier. Cassidy has survivability. It doesn't, like, you don't get a limbs a lot with it, but you have a reload, you have damage reduction. High Noon's been buffed out of, like, Bastion on a D tier. Okay, you know what? Let's have a D tier one. Got you, Bastion. Echo, A tier, because you can get so many variety of stuff, and you can build it fairly quickly. I think A tier is perfectly fine for Echo. Genji, B tier. Blade is good, not great. Echo's not S tier. Let me explain to you. I'm going to tell you right now, the reason why I don't have Echo in S tier is going to make a lot more sense. It's going to make a lot more sense as we get there. And I'm going to explain why Echo is A tier. And the only reason why is because sometimes you're at... Echo is in a spot where you're also... You're how do I explain this? Your ultimate could be S tier one game, but the next game they play the Winston Bastion... The Winston Bastion, Moira, Zen, Mei comp, right? Would you say that Echo is now going to be S tier? No. If they're running Sombra the next game and Kiriko, and then you get EMP, now you can move Echo into S tier, but do you see how kind of like... Do you see how Echo's in a spot where you're also so reliant on what the other team is doing? That, like... Echo's, like, a really good ultimate, and I can see the argument for S tier, but when you see who I have in S tier, I think it will make a lot more sense. Hanzo ultimate, D. Junkrat. Junkrat's B. I think Tyre's good. Mei, B. Pharah, C, because you can get in a limb. Reaper, C tier. Hard to get. I know I'm kind of going through those ones quickly, but I'm pretty confident in those ones. Sojourn, A tier. Soldier 76, B tier. I think this is good. You said Soldier has to be S tier? No. I only say that because it's really hard to get the full value with that. You could argue Reaper and like B tier also, because I know Reaper does well. I don't play against Reaper enough, so maybe it's a bit biased, but I'm going with C. It's on tiered in order, right? No, not really. Sombra, S tier. Is there any argument here? S tier by far. EMP is so good. I don't... That's my first S tier ultimate. I just think EMP is by far one of the best, if not the best ultimates in the game. Only next to one other ultimate I can think of. I think Sombra and S tier is exactly where I have it. EMP is so good. All right, Sim ult. Honestly, like, you know what's interesting about Sim? Like, while we're doing this, I feel like this is the one hero where I could put Sim ult anywhere and people wouldn't, like, instead of S tier, and people wouldn't argue. We'll put Simwall in C tier then. I'm gonna put Simwall in C tier. It's not a bad ultimate, but I feel like players don't use it correctly and it ends up just being like an ultimate that's in the back. So I'm okay with C. Torvald. Torvald's interesting because Torvald is also one of the best support ults in the game. Yeah, I'll go C tier. I like Torbolt, but I think it's too easy to avoid sometimes. Unless, like, you, like, randomly put it on a cart. Chat's changing my decision here now. It's either B or C tier. Okay. Let me ask you this question. We have one ultimate. Okay? We have one ultimate. And we go, okay, we have Torbolt this fight. Are you thinking, oh, we guarantee win this? Or are you thinking, oh, let's see where this goes? And that's kind of what I'm thinking about right here. Because that's how I feel about Farrer ult, Reaper ult, Sim ult, right? Depends on the map. That's fair. That's why this is a hard one, right? Because, like, if you say you have ultimate on Hollywood first point defense, I'm like, okay, that's the majority of the point. You can isolate them away. If you have Torbolt on second point Dorado, I'm like, what do you... okay. Right? Is Torbolt in that B tier? Or do I want to go like, okay, if we had a C plus tier, that's where I would put Torb. I can see the arguments for both C or B tier, but I feel like C tier is just a safe pick for Torb. I just like, that's where I'm going. Okay, Pulse Bomb, A tier? Easy to build, easy to use. Get easy to build, easy to use. Even if you miss, you can kind of rotate. You can kind of rotate, like, Pulse Bombs a lot. I mean, it's easy to miss, but, like, it's easy to, like, get it. All right, Venture. This is an interesting one. Where do we think Venture lands? I think they are either A or B tier, and it's funny because when I first played Venture, like, at the beginning, I'm like, this ultimate is just not good. But then as I've played more against Venture, I realized that as long as you understand how to play Venture with your ultimate, it becomes an A tier or B tier ultimate very quickly. Like, very quickly. I think A tier, based off of, like, pure damage, is A tier. Off of mobility, B tier. What I mean by mobility is that players can jump it or, like, move around it quickly. But I think, like, from the damage, just the raw damage, A tier. How is Rhine A? Shatter's better. Straight up. Reinhardt Shatter has a larger range, and you're shattered for longer. Rhine is a good ultimate. And that's why we have to ignore sometimes where Rhine is in the meta. But if we look at Shatter in general, if you hit a Shatter, it is way easier to follow up now. Like, way more than ever before. Shatter is very good right now. But it's getting the Shatter and making it work is the problem, but that doesn't make the ultimate lower than, like, A. You can argue B+, right? Okay, Widow, C or B? I feel like wall hacks are just good to have, so, like, B tier, right? Like, I feel like the information that walls give you is pretty good. So it's either C or B tier, but I feel like sometimes if we look away from, like, the knowing where they're at can be so good. But yeah, I'll go C tier. I'll give you C tier. I am, truthfully, chat, I would probably go with B tier, but at the same time, I also can see the argument of C tier, so we'll stay C tier. So that's all the DPS. I'm fine with this. I think Somber is the only S tier ultimate. I do think there is an argument where you can move Sojourn up here. There's an argument where you can move Echo up there. There's an argument where you can move Tracer up there, but I think for the sake of, like, the tier list in general, like, if I really wanted to do this by, like, order, I could put, like, you know, I could do this or something, right? Like, you know what I mean? So I'm happy with that. A tier. Okay, so Ana. We're gonna start with Ana. A tier. Nano helps everybody. Nano's good. Combos well with every hero in the game. Benefits every hero. A tier. Easy. Window. A tier. Benefits your team. Brig ult. B tier, because you can get killed during it now. But possibly A tier. B tier, because it's easier to kill now. Yeah, B tier I'm fine with. Ayari. A tier? I mean, that ultimate's so good. That ultimate's just too good now. That ultimate is so good. I'm going with A tier. I like Ayari's ultimate. All right, Kiriko. Most people agree that Kitsune needs a buff. So I think D tier for Kiriko is a pretty obvious one. That's pretty much where everybody's at. I think it's pretty obvious. Lifeweaver. No, obviously the other S tier. The other S tier ultimate is Kitsune. I think that's pretty straightforward right there, right? See now chat is the tier list on how I did this making more sense now? Like, do you see the two S tier ultimates? Do you see what I'm saying now? Why it makes a lot more sense? Like you can see why I have those ultimates up there. Like that is why, like, I have it this way. This is why I didn't want to put some of the heroes in S tier, because I feel like these two ultimates are steps above every other ultimate in the game. All right, Life Weaver is actually in a unique spot. Either A or B tier. And I know people will argue this, but now that they buff the healing on the tree, and you have the shields, I want to say, I don't want to go A tier yet. I think B tier is a safe spot. I think B tier is a safe spot. You can't see the B tier right now. Maybe I need to make it, like, smaller in a second. But I'm going to go with B tier. They increased the healing. They gave you over shields. Like, it's a good ultimate. It's a great ultimate. I'm just not quite ready to put with tree in the same A tier as a lot of the other ultimates. All right, B. Probably A tier now, right? Maybe B tier or A tier, I'd say. I think A tier is just a good ultimate. It's great. Yeah, I think it's just a good ult. Beat's good. Valkyrie? Oh, man, this is tough. C or B? Probably C. Right now. The current version, because, like, with the DPS passive being as good as it is, it's really hard for Valkyrie to get as much value, so you have to go more damage boost heavy. The Mercy will eventually get back up here on ultimates, but I think C tier right now. Moira ult? I don't know, B tier? Yeah, I think B. I think I have Moira ult in B tier. I think B is a good spot. Zenyatta? I'm going to be honest with you. This is going to be a hot take. This ultimate is terrible now. You kill people through it all the time. Suzu and Lamp are a better Zenyatta ultimate. It's a C tier ult now. I'm telling you. This ultimate, the amount of people you can kill through there, maybe B tier if you want to really push it. This ultimate, you kill people with this ult all the time. This ultimate is a... You know what Zen uses this for now? To save themselves. DPS passive, all that. You use this to save yourselves now. That's it. This ultimate has went from... at the beginning of Overwatch 1 to A tier, middle of Overwatch 2 to B tier, and now it's because of DPS passive, I'd say C tier. I can give you C tier, but I don't think A tier, and I really don't think B tier. You said I'm silly on that one? S tier, yeah, okay. Now chat's memeing. Yeah, I'm fine with this. I'm okay with this. I mean, there's arguments back and forth, but I'm okay with this one. I think it's cool. But yeah, I think it's a solid list. Like I said, not perfect. There's going to be some arguments back and forth, but I'm okay with it. Listen, if you disagree with that, totally fine, too. We got a game! We got a game! I just saw it pop up. All right. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like button. Let me know what you think in the comments about the tier list, where you would switch things around if you like it. I appreciate y'all a ton for watching these. Make sure to sub to all 3 YouTubes. Leave a comment. Appreciate y'all a ton. And with that being said, I hope you have an amazing day/night. Oh, also, we record these live on stream, so stop by Twitch chat. It's a ton of fun. But with that being said, I hope you have an amazing day/night.